The following program is a special presentation of Fox Sports Net.
Last year, the Iowa State Cyclones broke the Nebraska Cornhuskers' grip on the Big 12 Conference Championship with a victory on their home floor in Ames. Today, the Oklahoma Sooners hope for some hometown magic and keep the trophy right here in Norman and reward retiring coach Becky Switzer with a championship. The Big 12 Gymnastics Championships are next on Fox Sports Net. The capital of Oklahoma is Oklahoma City, and just about a 30-minute drive south of Oklahoma City, Norman, Oklahoma, site of the University of Oklahoma. And today, inside the Lloyd Noble Center, it's the Women's Big 12 Gymnastics Championships. Hello again, everybody. I'm Ron Thulin. 3 of the top 20 teams in women's gymnastics are here today. You add in Missouri, a young team, not in the top 20, but a team that could make an impact in this tournament. And what we have is a very exciting championship for the year 2001. Joining me throughout the telecast, a 2-time Olympian, Lori Strong-Ballard. Nebraska won the first 3 Big 12 titles. Last year, Iowa State pulled off a major upset. They got the conference title, but Nebraska this year, they've got a little revenge on their mind.
Well, Ron, this conference is so intense, and it's going to be a tight battle for the team title. And I think Nebraska has somewhat of an edge here. They have such a strong team this year, and it's interesting because they have no all-arounders slotted tonight. And that just shows their incredible depth. They're currently ranked 4th in the nation, but they're going to have a tough fight from the defending conference champions, Iowa State. They have a strong core group of formidable athletes, but not quite the depth that Nebraska has. Nebraska beat them in 2 dual meets this year, so it's an intense rivalry building.
Oh, you talk about intense rivalry, but when you talk to the Iowa State gymnasts like we did yesterday, one gets the sense they are very confident they can repeat, and it really begins with Iowa State's Sissy Huey.
Absolutely. The Big 12 has some of the top all-arounders in the country, and Iowa State has 2 juniors ranked in the top 10, and one is Sissy Huey. She is also a 2-time bars champion in this conference, and Shelly Kringen is one of the top all-arounders in this conference. Actually, she is the top all-arounder in this conference. And Oklahoma will be depending upon 2 youngsters, Casey Tamayo and Letitia Ishii, to put up 4 big scores for them, but we'll see if Oklahoma has the depth to push for a team title.
Let's take a look at the order of the first rotation. Oklahoma draws the Olympic rotation as they begin with the vault. Iowa State will begin on the uneven bars. Missouri gets the balance beam, and Nebraska gets the floor exercise as we head to rotation number 1 for the Oklahoma Sooners on the vault. And this is Casey Tamayo. When you talk to Steve Nuno and Becky Switzer, the one word they use when talking about the girls that vault, capable. They said if they are capable of putting up big numbers today.
Well, vaulting is such an event that requires an athlete, and these girls are very athletic, but this is going to be tough competing on vault, the first event. There is a new rule this year, and it only allows them to perform 1 vault. They could be tight, and they have to hit that first vault.
Here is Casey Tamayo of Oklahoma, the freshman out of Sacramento, California.
She'll be performing the handspring front pike. She needs to get into the horse. Oh, excellent job. She struggled with that in the warm-up, and she found the landing right there.
A hug from Steve Nuno. Taking a look at it again, it's so important to start out your first rotation with good vaults.
This vault is only scored out of a 9.9, and she does a great job with the landing. We're going to see a little bit of a leg separation. See her try and drive her heels up very strong to create the rotation, the leg separation, but look at the landing, outstanding.
Just like Tamayo, Letitia Ishii goes to 9.75 on the vault, so 2 9.75s. As we take a look at Leah Mueller, the 20-year-old redshirt freshman out of Yukon, Oklahoma, just outside of Oklahoma City. Actually works out for Bart Conner Gymnastics Academy right here in Norman. Very aggressive gymnast. They call her the Raging Bull, as a matter of fact, on the team.
She is so powerful, and that's why she's ranked 4th on the vault in this conference. She has scored as high as a 9.95. She will perform a vault that's scored out of a 10.0, so they're going to pick up a 10th here on their start values.
Well, she has an injury in her tendon in her knee, and it allows her knee to lock up at times. So she's kind of, as coaches would say, playing through it, but they are concerned about her injury.
It's called a Phelps, a half-on, half front layout. Huge distance, but she simply couldn't control the landing.
Currently ranked 25th in the vault.
This vault is called the Phelps. It's named after American great J.C. Phelps. There's a half on, half front layout. Nice laid out position in the air. There will be deductions for the landing, and there's a slight form deduction right there at the beginning. But other than that, a tough vault.
Let's take a look at the score for Oklahoma's Leah Mueller on the vault. For the third consecutive vault, Oklahoma gets a 9.75. Those are the numbers for Leah Mueller. We still have more first rotation action coming your way from Norman, Oklahoma, right after this. Let's head over to the uneven bars. Iowa State, that is their first rotation, the number 9 team in the country, as we look at Shelley Kringen, the junior out of Bemidji, Minnesota, a very powerful gymnast, coming off a 9.050 on the bars versus Iowa in their last regular season meet.
I was looking for a big score from Shelley, and she wants a big score herself as she wants to stay in the running for that all-around title. She is the number 1 ranked all-arounder in this conference.
Well, her assistant coach, Lou Ball of Iowa State, actually works with all the people on the uneven bars. Well, the former Nebraska gymnast, believe it or not. A very powerful gymnast. Iowa State, the number 9 team overall in the NCAA.
Looking for a big score from Shelley, not only for the team, but she wants to start off her all-around title search on the right path. Opening up with a giant full to a reverse hack. Nice combination bonus there of 2 D elements.
This is an event you're very familiar with, am I correct?
This was my favorite event, definitely. It's an event that you can just get up there and swing and let it happen. And a very nice routine there. Very clean, not huge difficulty. 1 step on the landing.
Now gets a high five from assistant coach Lou Ball, the former Nebraska gymnast. Hugs from teammates. Had a great uneven bar routine versus Iowa, the last regular season meet. Here's a look at it again.
She had nice combination work in the middle and finished the routine with a double tuck salto. That's a C-level skill. We're going to see bigger difficulty later on in the meet. Only a tiny step on the landing, about a half a tenth right there. A good, strong start off to her all-around search.
Shelley Kringen's score, 9.875. Excellent numbers for the junior out of Minnesota, competing for Iowa State. But here is the 2-time defending champion in the uneven bars, Sissy Huey, the junior out of Tallahassee, Florida, whose career she has been plagued with injuries, from kidney stones, ankle injuries. She told us yesterday she's finally healthy, and she's enjoying this year.
It's so great to see Sissy healthy. She's such an incredible athlete, and you're going to see why on this event. This is her event, and Iowa State's looking to...
Well, we just got a correction on Shelley Kringen's score. It has now been moved up to a 9.9. Good news for the Cyclones.
That is huge news, because Sissy can really build on that, possibly get a 9.95 or even a 10, and it is clean so far. Giant full, here comes the dismount, swinging hard, getting plenty of speed. There it is, a double layout, and she nails the landing.
Well, she twice hit 9.950 on the bars this year. That was her career highs. She was so confident yesterday coming into this Big 12 championship.
Let's take a look at the dismount here. She has to get incredible speed in the giant swings. It's almost an elliptical swing around the bars to get enough rotation to do 2 saltos in the laid out position. That's an E-level skill and a pretty good landing.
Elite level skill from an elite gymnast, Sissy Huey. 9.95 for Sissy Huey. An excellent first rotation for Iowa State as they have begun defense of their Big 12 title that they won last year.
Let's go, Bees!
When we return to the Lloyd Noble Center in Norman, Oklahoma, we will have more of the Women's Big 12 Gymnastics Championships right after this.
I like the team aspect better than the individual aspect just because you do have so much support, and I guess for the team, when you do good, you feel like you do good for the whole team, not just for yourself, so it's more satisfaction, I guess.
Welcome back to Fox Sports Net's coverage of the Big 12 Gymnastics Championships from Norman, Oklahoma. A programming note, weekdays at 5 p.m. it's Preps Chicago Hoops, a daily documentary show following the Chicago high school scene and featuring NBA prospect Eddie Curry. Get a look at high school basketball like you've never seen before. Preps Chicago Hoops, weekdays at 5 p.m. on Fox Sports Net. Check your local listings for the start time in your area. As we continue our coverage of the first rotation, Missouri, their head coach is Rob Dress in his second year. The Penn State grad knows he is building something in Missouri, and he knows what it takes to challenge Nebraska and Iowa State.
Eventually we'll beat them. It'll happen. It's just a matter of Dan and I developed a system while we were at Nebraska that started it, the progress that they've made so far. He's still refining it, and I took part of that system and implementing it at Missouri. And in the next couple of years, I think you'll see University of Missouri women's gymnastics team really starting to make an impact around the country.
And one of the people Rob is counting on is Leah Gramad as we head over to the balance beam as she begins her performance. An exceptional young lady both in the gym and in the school. Has 4 beam titles already this year. Has the top mark in this event in the Big 12, 9.925.
She's going to need tremendous focus on this event. Going last up, this is their first event. It's tough to compete beam first, especially at a championship meet like this. There's a lot on the line. Oh, a huge skill there. It's called an Anodi, and she was simply too crooked to hang on to the landing.
Missouri, such a young team. One senior on the roster, Rob Dress, their second-year head coach, very optimistic of what's to come. And one of the reasons is they really think that this young lady is going to be excellent.
You know, Ron, experience plays such an important role on this event. You really need some maturity and plenty of numbers and competition experience to be able to do the balance beam well. It's only 4 inches wide. There's so little room for air. You're 1 centimeter off, you're on the floor, and that's a 5/10 deduction versus the floor you can cover up very easily.
This young lady is a nursing student, gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning on a couple of days a week to go to clinics to help out and watch as she prepares to become a nurse.
Dismounts the gainer full off the side. Pretty good routine, except for that mistake at the beginning on such a difficult element.
Now, part of the maturing process is learning to compete in the Big 12 championship. It is very difficult for some of the younger competitors.
Take a look, a nice above shot on the Anodi. See her coming up a little bit crooked, need to pull her arms up by her ears. Such a tough element. But she finished strong here with a C-level dismount, a gainer full, taking off of 1 leg, and a good landing.
Now, she was not pleased with it, but it was nevertheless an excellent effort. Up next on the floor exercise, A.J. Lamb. But let's look back at last year's performance by A.J.
Her older sister is a team manager right now. A.J., as they call her, a freshman out of Lincoln. Has a hurt foot, but still they're saying she's one of the great ones.
She has a very bright future ahead. Very talented, strong tumbler, strong athlete. Nice triple. That's the first triple twist we've seen. Pike.
There's a lot of height on that one.
Oh, you bet.
You go, girl.
absolutely needs AJ to hit every element of this routine, including the final tumbling run, because they have lost just a little bit of ground to Iowa State in the last rotation. Iowa State's lead growing just a little bit. They need to nail everything, and she does.
Coach Kendig greets his athlete at the conclusion of her routine, as does every member of the Cornhusker squad.
Dan says she has incredible work ethic, and that certainly helps in gymnastics. These ladies work so hard, so many hours and numbers in the gym to perfect these routines.
Well, 9.925 is her career high. She has only competed in the floor exercise the last 4 meets that they've had. 3 duels in the Masters Classic. And AJ Lamb is ready.
She's in a tough position, going up last on the floor. They're looking to build on the scores.
Nebraska undefeated in dual meets this year. 6 contestants for each rotation. They count 5 of the scores.
Floor exercise is such a wonderful event because it combines both athleticism and beauty and grace, and Nebraska does such a good job with both of those aspects. A triple full. First pass, very nice.
The crowd beginning to get into the music.
Music should amplify their character. The dance should go with the music. This is the event these girls can become an actress on. Double pike, very big second pass.
Talking to all the ladies from Nebraska yesterday, every one of them told us this is the event, as you mentioned, they can show off.
And they do a great job. Plenty of expression in their face. See her becoming the actress right there. Of course, floor exercise is also a crowd pleaser. Last pass, front layout, front pike, 1/10 the bonus. Excellent job. Very nice finish for Nebraska.
AJ Lamb of Nebraska finishing the floor exercise. We saw Iowa State on the uneven bars. Their success in rotation number 1. Nebraska having success in their first rotation.
She opened with a triple full, but this is her middle pass. Round off back handspring, double pike, sky high, and a very solid landing.
And for Leah Gramad of Missouri on the balance beam, 9.225 her numbers. We'll step aside from the Big 12 Gymnastics Championships, and when we come back, we'll update the team standings after the first rotation.
When I was at club, it was kind of like cutthroat. I mean, your teammates, you cheered for them, but, you know, if they went and hit and you went and fell, they were the ones who won. And so when you get to college, you are depending on everybody on your team. You need everybody to hit. And if they fall, it doesn't just hurt them, it hurts you too. So the fact that my teammates depend on me to go out and hit routines, it puts more pressure on me. It makes me do better in competition. So I like that aspect of it.
The statue of George Cross on the campus of the University of Oklahoma, site of this year's Big 12 Women's Gymnastics Championships, along with Lori Strong Ballard. I'm Ron Thulin. This team scores after the first rotation. We thought it would be close, and it is. Nebraska with a slim lead over Iowa State. Oklahoma right behind, along with Missouri. If you're Iowa State, you have to be pleased with your first rotation. As we look at what's going to happen in rotation 2, Nebraska on the vault, Sooners on the bars, Iowa State on the beam, and Missouri on the floor exercise. Iowa State has to be in a pretty good position right now.
Absolutely. They had a great first rotation, and so did Nebraska. They had somewhat of an advantage starting on the floor. Allows you to get some of the jitterbugs out.
And the uneven bars will be the next event for the hometown favorite, Oklahoma Sooners. The 20th ranked team overall in the NCAA, 49.350, the highest team score they've had this year, is Casey Tamayo. We saw her get the 9.75 in the vault to get things underway here at the championships. A very artistic young lady.
She's getting some great experience in her freshman year, competing quite a bit in the all-around. Her favorite and best event is the beam, but they certainly need a strong start-off score from her on the bars.
You talked about her all-around. She had the second best in Oklahoma history as far as her score.
That's pretty incredible coming from a freshman.
Absolutely, and you think of some of the great gymnasts they've had here. Kelly Garrison comes to mind.
Tremendous gymnast Kelly Garrison was. And Casey's doing a nice job here. We saw a giant full reverse hex at the beginning and a double tuck dismount. The judge is going to have a tough time taking any form deductions on that routine. It's going to score well. It should be scored out of a 10.0, and with minimum form deductions, it should be a high one.
She knew the second she hit that she nailed the dismount and she nailed that routine.
It's not a huge amount of difficulty in this routine, not too many risks. It's only a double tuck salto, but 0 deductions, and that's what counts.
And Steve Nuno, Coach Shannon Miller, Becky Switzer, the wife of former Oklahoma coach Barry Switzer, they like it. She's had help this year with co-head coach Steve Nuno. For more on that, here's Keith Fletcher.
Come on, girl.
Just as smooth and graceful as junior gymnast Mariana Gonçalves, a head coaching transition is taking place with the Sooners.
Yeah, he was always in the back of my mind. We know he's the best coach probably in the country, and I mean, he's right there waiting to be taken, and I was like, time's right, let's go.
This will be Switzer's final year as head coach, and her replacement is already on the job. Steve Nuno is one of the most decorated gymnastic coaches in America, a 2-time Olympic assistant to Bella Caroli, who has also helped develop gymnast great Shannon Miller since she was 9 years old.
In '96, when our international team was trying to win the Olympic gold medal, it was the team meet that meant the most to me, and I think to every other athlete. And I wanted to get back to that concept, and the University of Oklahoma really offers that opportunity.
When you're married to a football coaching legend who has his own building on campus, it's not a difficult decision to step down even after 18 years, especially when you know that you'll never be far from the school and the program.
The first year I told Barry, I said, I will not get emotionally attached to these kids. Impossible. I mean, you're in there with them and your heart's with them, and I'll always be attached to this team. I'm going to live about 2 blocks away, so I'm sure that we'll always have close contact, and Steve assures me I can always come in and watch.
Nuno himself is a Sooner who competed in the early 1980s. Shortly after school, he became an assistant under Coach Switzer nearly 20 years ago. After this co-head coaching transitional year, he'll take sole leadership of the program next year.
I'm hoping that my reputation will help us, and to some degree to allow at least give some credence to our program besides our own results, that we are a program that's going to be in the forefront in the future.
This year's squad has plenty to coach, with no seniors, only 2 juniors, and the rest freshmen and sophomores. Mariana Gonçalves is one of the juniors and one of 3 Brazilians on the OU team, and one of the many who sees this year's co-head coaching situation as the best of both worlds.
Becky made sure that whenever she's leaving, she was bringing the best, and she brought Steve, who has like this whole experience with Olympics and all this kind of stuff, and he's just starting like college right now, but I mean, it's a lot of fun to have somebody that understands so much about gymnastics. They're working with us. We feel really confident about it, and we're expecting to have a great season.
Help will never be far away for Nuno, especially in peripheral matters like recruiting. Until then, his first lesson to the Sooners he'll lead on his own next year is teamwork.
Go get it, Leah, come on!
9.85 for Casey Tamayo on the Neva bars. Let's head over to the vault. Nebraska, number 4 ranking in the vault. 49.400, their last meet, best team score of the year. You know, Dan Kendig, the coach of Nebraska, he likes the fact there's only 1 vault as we look at Tammy Harris, the freshman from Virginia Beach, Virginia. Dan Kendig, the head coach of Nebraska. Tammy Harris, 9.900, best score this year. The last two meets, she scored 9.875 in this event.
Yurchenko half front layout. A little bit of a stumble on that landing and a form break in the air.
Do you like only one vault?
Well, I've never competed only one vault in my career, but you know, from an audience standpoint, it definitely adds a little bit of strategy to the vaulting competition. With only one try, sometimes the coach, they don't have a chance to do reaction coaching to see if a gymnast is on before they decide what vaults they're going to do.
Nebraska head coach Dan Kending telling us that this team doesn't have any superstars this year, but that doesn't mean they do not have depth, and that is the strength of this team.
Last year we had Heather Brink, obviously, and she was a very talented athlete and, you know, kind of stood out above the team a little bit. And this year I think the team from top to bottom is where our strength really lies, where I feel like we've got a team that's clean, hits the routines, shows good presentation, and I think it's just, you know, so there isn't that one, oh God, we hope, we don't have that at all, and I really feel like we feel confident in everybody that we put up.
Tammy Harris, 9.775. And let's stay on the vault with Nebraska, trying to regain the title that they won the first 3 years in the Big 12 Championship. This is Gina Bruce.
They need a big score from Gina, and she was the JO vault champion before coming to college, but that is a low start value. Only a handspring front tuck scored out of a 9.8. Nebraska needs to pick up some higher scores.
Sort of like diving his degree of difficulty almost.
It looks like she did the wrong vault here, probably wanting to do a more difficult vault. You saw her put her hand on her head afterwards. She was a little bit concerned. It was a clean handspring front tuck vault, but only scored out of a 9.8.
Andrea Nervig, the freshman from Colorado Springs, Colorado, from Missouri, now on the floor exercise. One of the very talented freshmen from Missouri. She has really emerged as one of the leaders of this team despite being just a freshman.
And she is strong on this event. That's why she's competing last up. Opening with a double pike. You see that sting mat right there? That's to help protect her landing, and it is not a deduction.
Andrea, roommate of Lindsay Davis, another one of the talented freshmen. They've taken turns setting Missouri records this year.
It's always great to have other competitors on the team to push you to be your best. Front full, front tuck. Almost a step out of bounds right there. They can touch the line, but they cannot step over onto the white part of the floor, or it's a 1/10 deduction.
Rob Dross, the head coach of Missouri, said it's just a matter of time until we overtake the Nebraskas and Iowa States. He was an assistant at Nebraska. His wife was a Nebraska gymnast.
We talked about how strong this conference is. You know, competition pushes you to be a better gymnast. Oh, boy, did she fight for that landing. What a tough break.
Right at the end. And coach is there to congratulate her. What a disappointing ending. She was having a fine performance for head coach Rob Dress.
A tough finish, but a big opening pass. Round off back handspring, double pike, D-level skill, very clean. Just a little bit of shoulders being too far down on the landing.
Andrea Nervig gets a 9.3 on the floor exercise. Missouri picking up valuable points. We'll step aside when we come back. 2 rotations are in the books. We'll update the standings in a moment. And up next is Stephanie Schweitzer from Iowa State. score, the best so far, 9.95. Now on the balance beam, Shelley Kringen of Iowa State. Now, she had a 9.925 on the beam versus Iowa, which was the last duel for the Cyclones. And, of course, she's locked in the battle for all-around. She needs points for her team and for herself.
And this event definitely could be the turning point in her quest for the all-around title, and she opened up with a big front pike. That's an E-level skill.
Spending some time with her yesterday, you got the sense this young lady is very, very confident in her abilities and in this championship.
It definitely shows, since she is the #1 all-arounder in this conference. And you have to be confident on this beam. There is no holding back. You have to go for every element 100%, or the technique will change, and then you'll be on the floor. Round off, layout, step out, another aggressive landing.
Trying to also pick up valuable points for her team, locked in that battle with Nebraska for the Big 12 championship.
Switch side, that's a difficult side landing. That's why it's a D-level skill, and she gets 1/10 of bonus. As her gym acro, a requirement on the balance beam to do an acrobatic element connected to a leap or a jump, a dance element.
Winding up her program.
An outstanding routine so far. Just the dismount left, a front full. Exceptional job.
I'll try to get away with a little hop at the end, but still an excellent job for Shelley Kringen of Bemidji, Minnesota and Iowa State.
She says it's not her strongest event, but she does open up with a big mount, the front pike, and she is so on.
And you can see her power and her confidence in this performance. And let's take a look at her numbers. Good score for Shelley, a 9.9 on the balance beam for Iowa State. As we head over to the uneven bars, Oklahoma now competing in their second rotation. Mariana Gonçalves of Sao Paulo, Brazil, one of the 3 Brazilians competing for the Sooners. The coaches are so high on this young lady.
She has so much experience, and she's in great physical shape this year. And it'll show nicely on this event. Beautiful high reverse hex. What's really nice is she has very clean lines, nice extension through her shoulders in all of her handstands. Take a look at that. That was her second major release move, a piked Jaeger, an E-level skill.
We have talked about her physical conditioning. That's one thing she's really made an effort to improve this year, and it has showed in her performances.
Big dismount, and she nails the landing. That routine was simply outstanding.
Oh, Steve Nuno likes it.
Let's take a look at her second major release move in this bar routine. It's the pike Jaeger, a salto in a pike position way above the bar so that you don't nick your heels on that high bar. Right down to the low bar, bail to handstand. And here is that amazing dismount. So much going on here. Full twist, back out, and she sees the landing and nails it.
As we head to the balance beam, Sissy Huey of Iowa State set to compete, and she told us she's just glad that this year she's injury-free.
Freshman year, I battled injuries. I dislocated my elbow and tore a ligament, and last year I was plagued with like kidney stones, and which was completely unexpected, and broke my foot. So I think it's been a lot better this year for me, as like that was one of my goals, was just to get through the season healthy and not have major injuries. So that's been a blessing, and I'm just glad that I was able to get this far without any major injuries. And so, you know, from here on out, no matter what happens, I was just glad I got to this point injury-free. So
that has to be something, though, knowing that you're not being able to compete at your full level because of injuries, and just to have the freedom of finally feeling well.
Oh, it's so tough to be able to be competing while you are injured. It's such a mental thing. You're not able to get into the gym and get the numbers done, especially on this event. The balance beam is all about numbers. To do so many repetitions so that when you are under pressure, you can resort back to your muscle memory rather than having to think about it. Like handspring layout, solid.
Junior from Tallahassee, one of the leaders of this Iowa State team, 9.925, her career high.
This event is all about connections. The ladies are looking for at least 5/10 in bonus through jump connections and gym acro connections, like that jump to a back tuck swing down. Certain connections are required and other ones are done just to get those bonus points so that they can be scored out of a 10.
And if you're in a tight race, as Iowa State is with Nebraska, you need bonus points.
Anytime you can start from a 10, that certainly gives you an advantage. Those are 3 sea-level jumps in a row. Judges are looking for a full 180-degree split in order to give them credit. She'll gain plenty of bonus there, and the dismount, back handspring, gainer full, another solid routine for Iowa State.
Now Sissy Huey, another excellent job. They started their first rotation on the uneven bars. Excellent performance now on the balance beam from overhead.
We're seeing a lot of girls do this dismount because it's a sea-level dismount, but what I like about what Sissy does is that she adds the back handspring in front of it, puts it in combination, increases the difficulty.
Now on the uneven bars, Mariana Gonsalves, 9.925, a good number for the Oklahoma Sooners. And for Sissy Huey on the balance beam, a 9.8. So Iowa State still knocking on the door. Right now, Nebraska's still in the team lead. A couple of other numbers to pass along to you. Shelley Kringen and Sissy Huey of Iowa State currently locked in a battle for the all-around title. They are currently 1 and 2. And the team competition, it is also close. And we'll update the team standings when we return to Norman right after. We welcome you back to Lloyd Noble Center in Norman, Oklahoma, as we continue our coverage of the Big 12 Gymnastics Championships. Sunday, wrap up your race day with NASCAR Victory Lane. It's a full hour of everything you need to get you from the pole position to the winner's circle. NASCAR Victory Lane, Sunday at 9 p.m. only on Fox Sports Net. Check your local listings for the start time in your area. Iowa State, despite the fact they were on the hardest apparatus, the balance beam, they have taken over the lead over Nebraska, who competed in round 2 in the vault. I'd say that has to be surprising if you're Nebraska, that Iowa State made up that much ground so quickly on the beam.
That's a huge statement, Ron. Nebraska struggled on the vault, possibly because of that new 1 vault rule. And Iowa State got the job done on the beam, and that's definitely an advantage for them.
KJ Kindler, the Iowa State head coach, she has to like what she sees as we come to rotation number 3. 3 out of 4 rotations in the Big 12 Championship. Missouri heads to the vault. Nebraska now goes to the uneven bars. Oklahoma to the balance beam. And Iowa State heads to the floor exercise. That is also one of their very strong events. And the Sooners begin on the balance beam. Patricia Aoki, the 3rd of 3 from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Just a sophomore.
Front tuck mount, solid landing. Slight wobble there. She was looking to connect those 2 jumps to get valuable bonus points. And it's also a requirement to connect at least 2 jumps in the routine.
One of the members of the Brazilian team, part of the 1999 Pan Am Games, that won a bronze medal. All 3 Brazilians on the Oklahoma team with international experience.
Having that kind of experience really helps, especially on this event.
Nielsen Savage, also a Brazilian, an assistant coach for Oklahoma. Aoki just couldn't hold on.
Mandatory 5/10 deduction. That was her gym acro. Adding 2 more jumps there. Very smart move to add an extra 2 jumps in the routine since she did not connect the first connection. So she won't get the deduction 2/10 for missing a requirement.
Oklahoma thought coming into this event that they would have an opportunity to be competing with Iowa State and Nebraska.
They just don't have the depth those teams have. Ending with a double full dismount.
And of course, the Sooner women have been fighting injuries all year long.
It's a tough break. Opening big, though, with a front tuck mount, and there wasn't a problem there.
As As we head over to the uneven bars, Nebraska in second place after 2 rotations, needing to make up some points. Tammy Harris, the freshman from Virginia Beach, competing in 3-4 events, skipping the floor exercise this year. A very impressive freshman, ranked 25th in this event. I have to mention, too, there is a panel of 4 judges in the Big 12 championships, which makes it very difficult, one would think, to make up a lot of ground if you fall behind by a lot of points.
There are 4 judges. They each put up their score. The high and the low will be eliminated, and the other 2 scores will be averaged. So you're definitely looking at fair scoring. Tammy says she loves this event. She says it's easy, but there's nothing easy about her bar routine. A prize to handstand. You see Dan stepping in there because here comes the release move. Puts his hand up just in case she overshoots the high bar and comes towards the low bar, just for safety reasons, and there's no deduction as long as he doesn't touch her. Gaining momentum into the double layout. She certainly made it look easy.
Now Nebraska head coach Dan Kending in his 8th season, he likes it. Tammy Harris likes it.
Take a look at the difficult dismount. She creates plenty of momentum through her giant swing. She'll tap her toes up very strong and open it up into the laid out position and a beautiful landing. The coaches love this one.
Dan Kending, 6 NCAA Super 6 appearances, or 3 I should say. Let's go back over to the balance beam and update the score of Patricia Aoki of Oklahoma, 9.05 her numbers. Tammy Harris, 9.95, just off her career best of 9.975 in uneven bars. An excellent routine for Harris. This is Alicia Ingram, the freshman out of Oklahoma City.
Opening with a nice low bar to high bar transition. It's called a Sprashnikova and a bail directly in handstand. Boy, Nebraska is stunning on this event. That's why they're ranked number 2 in the nation. This is where they need to pick up some ground. They're doing a great job so far.
Ingram was part of the senior national team of the United States. Her coach, believe it or not, Steve Nuno. Now she's competing against him.
If she sticks a dismount, I could see a possible 10. Oh my goodness, that was incredible.
She has had a spectacular freshman year, and it just might be capped off at the Big 12 championships with a perfect score. We'll wait and see.
We talked about Nebraska having a young team. They lost All-American and national champion Heather Brink last year. But this gymnast here can easily step in where Heather Brink left off, especially with bar teams like that. Great job for Alicia.
And the final numbers on the uneven bars for Alicia Ingram of Nebraska, 9.95, and that is good enough to tie her with Sissy Huey of Iowa State for first in the uneven bars. Third rotation, we're midway through. More to come from Norman after this. And Iowa State on the floor exercise. Sissy Huey. They've had a collection of 9.8s around that number. Nebraska on the uneven bars, their lowest was 9.8. They had a bunch of 9.9s. They've made up ground. Sissy Huey has to come up with a big number right now.
Absolutely. Now, Iowa State has been strong on this event, but the simple fact of the matter is Nebraska is stunning on the bars. We said they had to make up some ground, and they've done the job. They need to go into their last event with a little bit of a lead since their last event is the beam. Opening with a whip to double pike. Some front tumbling, front full to front tuck.
Sissy doing an excellent job so far. Near flawless routine.
This event is the same as the beam in that they need to get 5/10 of bonus, and they can get that through their tumbling or through jump combinations like we just saw Sissy do.
Young lady that has fought through so much in her career.
Last pass, whip pass, front layout, front tuck, 3 saltos in a row. A great job by Sissy. That should score well.
What a routine. She needed that. Let's go back over to the uneven bars. Nebraska's Bree Doherty O'Callahan, the sophomore from Kearney, Nebraska.
We've already seen 3 huge scores from Nebraska. Beautiful bar routine. Oh, an outstanding combination work there right into her reverse X.
Bree got married last May to Matt O'Callahan. The only thing that would top that would be a perfect score.
Ron, I thought the last routine was going to be a 10, but I really think that this is going to get the job done. It almost looked like she tapped her heel on the low bar going into this dismount, but it didn't phase her. Beautiful stretched out position and not a problem on the landing. I didn't see a single thing wrong with that routine.
Out of rotation number 2, they trailed, but the 10 for Bree Doherty O'Callahan on the uneven bars. Nebraska making up ground at Iowa State. And they just may have taken over the team lead with 1 rotation remaining. The floor exercise, Shelly Kringen of Iowa State.
Shelly is spectacular on this floor. She's ranked number 1 in the conference and 3rd in the country. They need her best right here. She has scored as high as a 9.975. And in a dual meet, that means one judge gave her a 10. They're looking for the 10 here.
And that was against Nebraska in a dual meet.
A little side step right there, maybe half a tenth deduction. She covered nicely.
She's had a 9-9 or better in 8 of 11 meets this year. Really has improved her scores on the floor.
Really wonderful and expressive dance combined with explosive tumbling. That's what the judges are looking for. Front full, front layout half. Making wonderful eye contact with the judges and with the audience. The most difficult one in terms of endurance. Front layout, front tuck, not a problem. Outstanding. That's exactly what Iowa State needs right now.
Shelly Kringen, competing in her 3rd event of the evening, gets a hug from KJ Kindler, the head coach. Well, they needed 20 of 24 solid performances. They got one here.
Shelly came through once again with a clutch performance. Here's the double pike. She steps into her lunge, has to adjust her foot just slightly, but only a minimum of deduction. There's her front layout, front tuck, last pass, a big presentation. She knew she was on.
Well, Iowa State needed big scores. Sissy Huey with a 9-9. That was the big score they needed. Now a little 9.95 for Sissy Huey. Iowa State a little team meeting right now. On the floor exercise, a 9.9 for Shelly Kringen of Iowa State. That is enough to keep Iowa State in the team lead, but her teammate Sissy Huey has now taken over the lead in the all-around competition. We'll update the standings. They are close. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Big 12 Championships. That is the trophy that will be awarded at the end of the competition. And right now we have 3 rotations in the book. And despite Nebraska getting a season high on the bars, they were not able to overtake Iowa State. .05 separates the Cyclones from the Cornhuskers. Oklahoma currently 3rd. Missouri is 4th as we head to the final rotation. And this is the way it stacks up. Iowa State will go to the vault. Missouri to the bars. Nebraska ends up on the beam, and Oklahoma on the floor exercise. And first up for Iowa State, Chi-Chi is her nickname. Kalina, the freshman out of Anchorage, Alaska. And here you're wanting to get a good start, and a freshman is going to have to do it.
A lot of pressure on Chi-Chi right now. Iowa State is putting together a fantastic meet, and talk about peaking at the right time. Chi-Chi's performing handspring front pike. That's scored out of a 9.9. She'll have a small deduction on the landing, but at least it was on her feet, and that's what they're looking for. It's important to get a strong repulsion on this vault right here. See a slight leg separation. The judges can't see that, and just that step on the landing.
Meanwhile, over on the beam, Bree Doherty, fresh off the 10 on the uneven bars. Now she goes to the beam. As a gymnast, you have to forget about what you just did and just concentrate on what's at hand right now?
Oh, absolutely. You need to do the same job you would do in practice. You need to let that muscle memory take over. They've done so many numbers. They need to put all of this pressure that's surrounding them out of their mind and just get the job done. Easier said than done, though. Back handspring layout, very solid. Nebraska would have liked to have headed into this event with a comfortable lead, so they wouldn't have any added pressure. They have to deal with it now.
There is no cushion. They trail Iowa State. Final rotation of the 2001 Big 12 Championships.
Bree is a nice, solid start-off performer. You can see she has a very calm demeanor, a very smooth rhythm to this routine.
Bree Doherty O'Callahan.
Remember, she just scored a 10 on bars, and that is difficult to finish up last on bars and then turn around and have to refocus and sort of change the pace on the balance beam. Just the dismount left. It's a front full, an outstanding start-off performance that will certainly put the rest of the team at ease.
An excellent meet for Bree Doherty O'Callahan. Meanwhile, on the vault, Chi-Chi Kalina, a 9.7. Not a bad start for Iowa State. I'm sure they would have liked more. And Bree Doherty O'Callahan over on the beam. How did Nebraska get going on their final rotation? Her number, 995. That is the way to start out for the Cornhuskers.
That's an incredible start-off score.
Well, a couple of future Big 12 gymnasts, just maybe. We're going to take a quick break from the Lloyd Noble Center in Norman. The Women's Big 12 Gymnastics Championships continue after this.
Let's go, sis! Come on, go, sis! Come on, sissy! Go, sissy!
And now to Sissy Huey of Iowa State.
Handspring front top with a half twist. She finds the landing.
Well, she got the big score on the floor exercise when they needed it. Now they needed another big score on the vault because the first two, the numbers weren't all that great.
Using her power once again to help out this team. That vault scored out of a 9.9. Same as the handspring front pike. Good girl, nice ball.
Well, Bree Doherty O'Callahan has stepped up for Nebraska. Sissy Huey stepping up for Iowa State.
She gets nice power and distance in this vault. There's the salto in the tuck position. She sees the landing. Nice half twist and a solid vault.
Shelley Kringen will be up next for Iowa State. She had a 10 the last meet versus Iowa. 4 vaults this year over 9.90. She's averaged 9.820 this year, the junior from Bemidji, Minnesota. They need those kind of numbers now.
Absolutely, and this is her favorite event. She's capable of putting up big numbers.
Sissy Huey, 9.775. We thought the number would be a little higher. Now we head back to Shelley Kringen. The first Cyclone to score a 10 on the vault and only the second on any event to get the perfect 10.
You have to remember, Sissy's vault was only scored out of a 9.9, so there was only 1.25 or 0.125 deductions. Now, Shelley does have a 10-0 start vault. She's capable of getting the big numbers. It's called the Phelps half front layout. Almost a step on the landing. She tried to hold in there just long enough before saluting to the judge.
Her run-up is so strong.
Oh, she is so powerful, and that is key on this event. You need to be explosive. Hit the board strong and fly off that horse. Half turn, front layout, a little bit of a pike in the hips, but other than that, an outstanding job.
Meanwhile, Nebraska over on the balance beam, A.J. Lamb.
And Nebraska's been getting the job done over here. Rhonda Fain, their beam coach, doing an incredible job with this team. Handspring layout. just slightly off there. She saw her pull her arms very aggressively up on top to try and save that landing.
Well, the Huskers told us yesterday they didn't mind ending up on the beam, but in reality, do you think that's true?
Well, we'll see after a couple more routines here. If they win, they certainly wouldn't mind ending on the beam.
Said they ended up on the beam last week at Arizona State.
This is the event that every away team finishes on in a dual meet, so I'm sure they have plenty of experience finishing on the beam. Plus, you have to be prepared for anything as they head into the championship portion of the season. Most of the competitions order are done by random draws, and they can finish on anything, even at the national championships. Just a dismount left, and another solid routine for Nebraska. They are getting it done.
Will it be enough?
Taking a look at that crucial tumbling pass right here. It's a requirement to do 2 salto or 2 acrobatic skills in a row. And of course, the dismount, the final element of the routine, a sea-level skill, and not a movement on the landing.
A.J. Lamb getting hugs. Excellent routine. Meanwhile, Shelley Kringen of Iowa State, a 9.875. Iowa State is done on the vault. Excellent performance by A.J. Lamb of Nebraska on the balance beam. Her score of 9.95 ties her for the lead in this event with teammate Bree Doherty O'Callahan and Stephanie Schweitzer of Iowa State. But the team competition, it has not been decided yet. Plenty of competition left in the 4th rotation. Who will win the title? We'll find out when we come back. Amy Ringo now on the balance beam for Nebraska. This senior trying to end her career with yet another Big 12 team title. Coming off a 9-9 performance at the Arizona State Invitational.
Crucial element right here. Back handspring, tuck kick open. You have to be square on that element, definitely.
She was emphatic that she likes ending up on the beam. She has an infectious personality, a wonderful young lady. Senior out of Phoenix, Arizona.
Switch link to a ring jump. I guess the advantage of ending on the beam is you've gotten all the jitters out that start at the beginning of the meet. Sometimes a little extra pressure is to your advantage because you simply have to get the job done.
Well, she talked about the adrenaline is really flowing at this point.
Doing some nice jump combinations. That was a wolf jump to a sheep jump. She'll gain valuable bonus points there. Oh, Nebraska has been solid on this event. Very minimum wobbles, let alone any falls.
Or you hit it on the head. That's a great word, solid. Dan Kenning saying there are no stars on this team. We're basically a sum of our parts, and we've seen it in this event.
This is a real team effort going on here tonight. And a great job.
Amy Ringo, the senior. Alicia Ingram, the freshman from right here in Oklahoma City. Originally out of Knoxville, moved to Oklahoma City so she could train with Steve Nuno at Dynamo. The same training facility of Shannon Miller.
And talk about a lot of pressure on a freshman. This is her first conference championship. She's last up on the beam, last event, and they need her score. Oh, huge tumbling pass. That is so difficult. Aerial, back handspring layout.
How about the international experience? How does it come into play now? Does she feel the pressure because she's had so much overseas competition?
Oh, anytime that you can compete, that adds experience. The more you compete, the easier it gets. Nice, interesting combination there. Full turn, leg above horizontal, right into a back handspring quarter, showing nice control in her handstand.
Remember this name. This young lady is exceptional.
Nebraska has no one competing in the all-around, but I think they have a couple very talented athletes who could give given the all-around title a run for their money. Here we go with the dismount, big concentration. A little bit simple, only a full twist, but that meets the requirement, and they just need to stay on.
That also might meet the requirement of another Big 12 title. They're going after their 4th in 5 years, and Nebraska just might have done it.
Take a look at this very intricate tumbling pass there. The side aerial, back handspring layout, so crucial to stay right over the beam. Get a nice shot of how straight she was on that element. And of course, the dismount. A full twist, she sees the landing, only a tiny hop. What a solid effort by this Nebraska team.
It is close. It is so close. How close is it? We'll tell you when we come back to Norman right after this. Welcome back to Norman, Oklahoma. Let's take a look at the final score in the balance beam for Nebraska's Alicia Ingram, and she scores a 9-9. And as we take a look at the final team standings, for the 4th year in the last 5, Nebraska has captured the Big 12 title, their 16th conference title dating back to the Big 8 days, 197.650. Iowa State University, 197.050. Oklahoma and Missouri round out the field. But it was a big final 2 rotations for Nebraska. And here to talk to their coach about it, here's Lori Strong-Ballard. Lori?
Thanks, Ron. So how does it feel to reclaim the title and bring it back home to Nebraska?
Well, I tell you what, we were really excited. What a group of athletes here that just came in today, and we got started out on floor, and we hit routines and went to vault, and maybe didn't do our best, but boy, did we finish up strong on bars and beam.
Dan, you said it was going to be a total team effort, and they certainly set the pace on bars for you, Bree. An incredible 10.
Thanks. It was exciting.
So what happens now?
Tell you what, we've got 2 weeks before our regional championships, and we're hosting them in Lincoln, so we're excited about that. And this team's just going to keep on keeping on.
And thank you very much, Lori. They should be happy. A season high on bars and beam, and a season high in points, and Nebraska wins the team title. Let's take a look at the individual winners. In the balance beam, there was a 3-way tie for first between Stephanie Schweitzer, A.J. Lamb, and Bree Doherty O'Callahan. Let's take another look at those performances. In the vault, Shelley Kringen was your winner. Let's look at her winning vault. And in the uneven parallel bars, Bree Doherty O'Callahan with a perfect 10 was the winner, with Alicia Ingram, Julie Hawk, and Sissy Huey tying for second. Here are their performances. And finally, in the floor exercise, Iowa State Sissy Huey wins with a 9.950. The Sooners' Patricia Ioki and Mariana Consalves tying for second. And here's a look at their performances. And once again, congratulations to the all-around winner, Shelley Kringen of Iowa State. For Lori Strong-Ballard and our entire crew in Norman, Oklahoma, I'm Ron Thulin. Thanks for watching, and so long, everybody.